Welcome to Postgame Live. Patriots win their first game of the season over the Miami Dolphins 33-27 in Miami, breaking a losing streak that they've had in South Florida. And they haven't won there, hadn't won there since 2019. Tom Brady at quarterback. But today, Mike Vrabel gets his first win as Patriots head coach. They beat the Dolphins. They avoid slipping to 0-2. They're 1-1. Here with a crew that can tell you everything. You got Phil Perry, Tommy Curran, three-time Super Bowl champion Ted Johnson. I'm Michael Holley. Let's go around the horn and just talk about impressions of this very entertaining game, Phil.
Well, I start with the quarterback and Drake Maye and that connection with Josh McDaniels that we talked about all week. That thing was working today. That is as efficient a game as we have seen Drake Maye play, not turning the football over, making big plays when you needed big plays to be made. I thought that scoring drive where he hits that 55-yard throw to Ramondre Stevenson was everything you wanted from Drake Maye if you're the Patriots, because not only does he hit that throw, two hands on the football as he steps up, accurate down the field, the play before, uses his head, checks it down on second and forever to make it third and manageable. Then you get the athleticism at the end to put it in the end zone. He can do the playground stuff, too. You got everything you wanted from Drake Maye in this game, Tom.
I thought that was a critical drive. I said to Michael Holley, I said, this is where you need on the road a young quarterback, a divisional game to take over and be part of the reason you win the football game. We spent the whole week talking about Drake Maye, so to me that's big. What's also interesting about this, we spent a lot of time talking about Mike Vrabel's opening press conference. Can we take advantage of bad football? The Patriots played plenty of bad football themselves on special teams, defensively. Even that decision to throw the ball coming out of the 2-minute warning, questionable offensively.
Yeah.
But they survived it because Miami played more bad football. But we have a ton to dig into, Teddy, because it's every front, whether it's good plays, bad plays, good coaching, questionable coaching, there's a ton.
It was, Drake Maye's the story to me. I mean, there's a lot of storylines, but the main one to me is Drake Maye. He was probably the best, at least half of football I've ever seen him play, at least in that first half. I mean, he was so efficient. And like Phil mentioned, I love the play designs in this game, particular to how it went in that first game. I mean, they had more rush attempts in the first half than they did of all of last game, and they were running the ball well. It was great to see. They were hitting you on the inside. They were hitting you on the outside. I mean, Phil and I were talking about it at halftime that it looked like there was a lot of that Shanahan elements in the offense with those boots, those boot throwbacks, those waggles. He just looks so comfortable when he's out on the run, and I think that helped settle him down early in the game. But Drake Maye was the story of this game. It was great. And then also I think the overall fortitude of this team showed a little bit today. They had this game in control. They're up 12-0, and then they give up the lead, and then they kind of fought their way back, and they just took a punch and they came back. So it was a gutsy performance all around. But to me, Drake Maye is the story here, Michael.
Look, I know we're going to do our own game balls here on Postgame Live, brought to you by your New England Ford dealers, by the way. Look, we're going to do our own game balls later in the show. But Ted, you've been in this locker room. You've been in these locker rooms with some championship teams, with some near championship teams. And you know, post-game, coaches say, hey, we got a couple of game balls for somebody. Don't you think that the first place they go, and Mike Vrabel goes, is to Drake Maye? You know, he missed 4 passes today. He was 19-23 today. Didn't throw for 300 yards, like nearly 300 last week, 230 yards. He rushed when he needed to rush, nothing like getting out of the pocket too early, scored a touchdown rushing. This was, I would say, Ted, this is a Drake Maye game and a Josh McDaniels game. Would you say that?
Without a doubt. And it's one of the two most important people in the organization, at least Drake Maye is. But that partnership with Josh McDaniels is so important. And it's what we scrutinized all week. All of us in our various jobs here at the NBC and other places, all we talked about was that relationship. And is that on its good footing? Is he giving too much to Drake Maye? Josh McDaniels had to answer about it. Mike Vrabel had to answer about it, you guys. And to me, it was just the perfect game plan for the style in which Drake plays. It really exploited his talents, and it looked pretty damn good today.
I liked your point about resilience, because Drake Maye had to be on, which he was, and while there was chaos unfolding on defense with the slants and the easy touchdowns, chaos unfolding on the offensive line, chaos on special teams with a punt return, it was a punt return touchdown, chaos with the special teams and Andy Borregales. The team showed resilience, so Drake Maye was part of the stabilizing aspect, and they also show resilience. We don't know if they're going to be resilient all year long, but this was a resilient win for the rookie kicker, for the special teams to answer a touchdown with a touchdown, for the team to burp up basically what should have been, a 14-0 lead, and they go down eventually 17-15. I mean, that should have been extremely demoralizing, but they showed resilience, which is the first step for a bad team, is to show that you have a little bit of a back.
Bite,
and to do it where they did it, I think matters. To be in Miami, divisional opponent, a place where, and I know it's a new staff, I know half the team has turned over since just last year, so they don't know about all the bodies that have been buried in Miami. But to do it there and to show that kind of resilience there and come back and win that kind of game, to me, should spell good things moving forward for the Patriots.
I saw a couple of things from Drake Maye, and we talked about it, Tom, just watching the game together. One of the things, there were a couple of times where he would step up in the pocket and you would say, last year, Drake Maye, he's going to take a sack or he's going to do something with the football. He's not going to secure it. It's just going to flick that thing around. He was able several times today to avoid pressure, step up slightly in the pocket, either make a successful throw. I was going to say throw it out of bounds, but not many. As I said, he only had 4 incompletions today. But I thought he had a lot of smart moments today. And I did wonder. I got to tell you, I was one of the people wondering, like, when is it going to happen for this guy? There's always something he does in the game that doesn't make a lot of sense. Today, Tom, I don't think I had any plays where I said, oh, Drake, what are you thinking there? I don't think you had any of those plays.
It's funny because you watch a particular quarterback for long enough and you start to anticipate things happen the moment the ball's starting to leave his hand. And he had a throw in the flat, actually down the field a little bit, to Travion Henderson, that Mike and I both looked at and go, oh, it looked too flat.
And it was complete.
It looked like it was an overthrow. But Henderson tracked it down. It turned out to be a perfect throw. We looked at it on replay. That was actually a really good throw. Same thing with the throw to Ramondre Stevenson. He put it on a platter for him. He understood where he could put the ball. So to me, I don't know if it's a 180 Phil from last week, but the jumpiness, the composure, and maybe it's the opponent, I don't know. But just take it for today. That was what you want to see from a third overall pick.
And understanding, I think, when to scramble, for me, that was something I thought would take a long time for him to figure out. Because he has that ability. It's there for him whenever he wants it, or he probably feels that way. And so there are going to be times when he takes off and he shouldn't take off. I don't know how many bad decisions he made with the football throwing or running today. I mean, how many shots did he take? He took one, I think, going out of bounds near the goal line at one point. I think the hardest shot of the day that he took that wasn't a sack was on that fumbled snap from Garrett Bradbury that he just rolled there way, about 10 yards behind Drake Maye. Did a good job of falling on it and taking a little bit of a hit. But understanding when to run is key for me. 10 carries today, only 31 yards, but I felt like they were all effective, right? Couple of first downs on those scrambles. He had the touchdown run on a scramble as well. That, to me, was a key piece to his overall performance.
If you look at the stat line, I just like the stat line. I mean, this is what you're looking for. Last week, not so much when they had 53 dropbacks. 23 pass attempps, right? But
half of a week ago. 23.
Half of what they had, but very efficient. You don't have to pass a lot, but just be efficient when you do. 19 to 23, averaging 10 yards per pass attempt, which is excellent. No interceptions, and with 2 touchdowns, and threw to 9 different receivers, and I love that. And you got Matt Collins. Like, it's Matt Collins. He had 1 catch. It was 1 catch for a touchdown. And even though he'd only had 31 catches in totality last year when he was with Buffalo, he had 5 touchdowns in those 31 catches. So he's a weapon in the red zone. And even though Kayshon Boutte only had 1 catch, it was for a touchdown. It was a hell of a catch.
Hell of a throw.
So just I like that he gets the ball distributed to a lot of different players and doesn't just zone in. I just thought he was feeling it and making good decisions, and just looked calmer than he's looked really ever, in my opinion.
The Boutte throw is a great one to bring up because, again, playing the position. Do you understand what's happening on the other side of the line of scrimmage? Can you sit behind center and make the play that's asked of you to make in that moment? And he had that ball out in about a second and a half, maybe. But he understood there was pressure coming. there's all sorts of calls, there's all sorts of communication happening before the ball is even snapped about the pressure that the Dolphins are about to bring. He even, I think, is fading away from it a little bit so that he doesn't step up into what might be some contact and ends up making an incredibly accurate throw. So on the move, I think early, getting him on the move and using those bootlegs that Ted talked about, that helps him settle in. Then you see him make those plays in the pocket.
And I got to be honest, like the key, which they didn't have last week, the key to getting him to be effective in the play action game and the boots and everything is to have a running game that's got a little teeth. You know, and then you go, okay, they only average 4.2 yards. That's pretty good. Anything over 4 is really good on 29 attempts. That was enough. They had enough. The running game was successful enough to really keep their defense, Dolphins defense, on their heels a little bit and keep them off balance. And I thought that was key, is that they ran the ball effectively so that the play action was in the boots were as deadly as they were.
Presented by Gem Plumbing and Heating. For an instant reaction to your heating, cooling, electrical, and plumbing needs, visit AskGem.com.